A very good afternoon to Dr. Nicole Leong Hong Ye, our honorable host, and to all the viewers. Welcome to the UTM Engineering Student Virtual Hangout Zone, hosted by Faculty of Engineering, University Technology Malaysia. Today, I'm so glad to see all the audience eager to engage with our fascinating and very influential topic, which is Millenial Goals High Tech for Sustainable Agriculture. In spite of this entire COVID-19 pandemic, thanks for attending our live session. With your loved ones at home, I hope you are safe and sound. Prior to the event, let me first introduce myself. My name is Chua Shu En, a second-year electrical mechatronics engineering student, and I'm going to be your moderator for this program. So I hope you will be able to carry me through this live session. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you our honorable speaker today, Dr. Nicole Leong Hong Ye. Dr. Nicole has been a senior lecturer at University Technology Malaysia (UTM) since 2017. She is currently the research fellow at Innovation Center in Agri-Technology for Advanced Bioprocess (ICA) UTM. She received her bachelor degree in Applied Science, Agrotechnology Entrepreneurship from University Malaysia Kelantan in 2011. She enrolled in fast-track PhD directly after the completion of degree and received her Doctor of Philosophy degree in Environmental Science and Management, Biology and Biochemistry from University Malaysia in 2016. Moreover, she has been involved in multiple research projects focusing on sustainable agriculture, agri-environment management, nutrient-dense food, nutrient management, and agri-waste upcycling in the past years. Without further ado, let's welcome our honorable speaker, Dr. Nicole Leong Hong Ye.
Thank you so much, Chua, for this kind introduction. Really appreciate the organizer, Dr. Ros Hanida, and her team from Faculty Engineering for giving me a chance to give a talk on sustainable agriculture. And by the way, this is my first FB live. Kind of nervous. So let's begin the talk. I will share my slide right now. Okay. Chua, can you see my slide?
Yes. Doctor.
Yes. Chua, can you see my slide?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, good. So let's begin. I think some of my students, so if you are from my microbiology, give me some love. If you are from graduate success attribute class, then give me some thumbs up. So I learned from all the YouTuber. So let's talk about, this will be a very, I try to simplify because I know most of you are not from agriculture background. So I'll go very brief on the agriculture part. What is the definition of sustainable agriculture, and then I will go for some of the high-tech part that is ongoing right now, in trend right now. So hopefully you will enjoy the talk. So let's go for intensive agriculture. So most of the agriculture currently around the world are in the modes of intensive agriculture. So most of them are focusing on using as low input as possible, as low land as possible, to achieve high yield with lower costs. So usually they utilize some of the technology, and then agrochemical use, and then the mechanization, and also they are specialized in a certain crop. So you will see the farmer planting a single crop, very specialized in their farm, and then some of them are focusing on just one or two crops. You won't see a multiple crop in the farm. So usually the intensive agriculture, their main objective is high income, high yield, and low cost. So often because they are focusing on the economic point of view, so they often neglect the part on the environment. So you will see problems such as topsoil depletion, water contamination because of the excessive use of chemicals, and then you will see greenhouse gas, air pollution, methane gas, hydrogen sulfide, and nitrous oxide are the common greenhouse gas from agricultural soil. And new pathogen might be evolved from the farm systems because we often disturb the natural environment with chemicals and excessive use of fertilizer. So we changes the ecosystem, and pathogen will evolve from new pathogen will evolve because we change the environment. So of course, another point is the social economic part. You will see we will see a lot of small farm, family farm decline because big holder, plantation holder, the big company, they will purchase the small farm. You will see small farm combine into a big plantation. So you will see all those rural area, they are losing their family farm because they sell it to the big company. Of course, you will see in the news, especially European country reporting our oil palm plantation here having underage worker, or sometimes they are reporting in the news about the living condition of the laborers, the foreign worker is not very in a very well-being way. So these are often the main consequences of intensive agriculture. So, according to the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, the world, one third of our farmland is degraded. So when we say degraded, is the farm is less fertile, it's not that suitable to plant anymore because of the losing of topsoil, the losing of organic matter, the contamination with chemicals, and we lost 75% of genetic diversity. So why we lose so much of diversity is because we are clearing the forest for other uses. So we lose a lot of genetic diversity there. Different types of crops are lost because of the land clearing of the forest. And also, most of the time, intensive agriculture, they plant single crop. So you will see the genetic diversity wise, we are focusing on those few types of crop. So if you ask yourself the vegetable you ate, how many types of vegetable you eat, usually it's just four, 5 types only. So usually the agriculture land will focus on the 4, 5 types of crop that mostly consumed by the consumers. And of course, the animal breeds are losing. We losing the types of breeds also because we are focusing on those breed of animal that has high yield, disease resistance. So the one that is not high yield or disease resistance, we usually don't cultivate or we don't breed this type of animal. So we are losing 22% of the breed, and then half of the fish stock in the sea are fully exploited. So sooner or later, we might not have enough fish for us to eat if we don't conserve the fish stock in the sea. And every year, 13 million hectares of forest is converted into other land use. So we are losing a lot. So one proposed agriculture method uh, is encouraged by the FAO and also many of the environmentalists is sustainable agriculture. So sustainable agriculture is actually a big umbrella of how we're going to maintain between economy, environment, and society. So often when we talk about sustainable agriculture, people only focusing on the environmental part, but actually, sustainable agriculture is looking at a tree scope. environment, economy, and society. So we don't encourage just focusing on environment until the crop yield is so low, we unable to fulfill the consumer needs because our population is getting higher and higher, and certain region in the world they don't have enough food to eat. So we don't encourage too focusing on environment until the crop yield is not enough, or we are too focusing on economy until the environment is impact in a negative way, or we are too focusing on economy and environment and the rural farmer are affected. So again, many people has a misconception of sustainable agriculture, thinking that it's on environment. No, it's actually on three factors. So I hope everyone will remember this. So sustainable agriculture, there are five key principles. So you can see a lot of word on the slide. But the key five principle is conservation of resources, um, and also conservation of natural resources, and then efficient use of resources. These two are more on the cost and benefit point of view. Principle three, they're looking at the rural livelihood, equity of social well-being. So we need to take care of rural area because agriculture actually is the primary income for rural area farmers. So we need to take care of their well-being and equity. So try to uh, enhance their life being by improving their agriculture technology use. And also the principle four will be the resilience. When we look at the resilience, it's not just the resilience of the crop towards disease and pests, but the resilience of the people and communities towards changes of economy, the market prices. If you are in agriculture, you will know agriculture price changes very drastic. So one day the farmer will earn a lot of income, but the next day because the change of market, they will having problem with not enough money to harvest the crop. So you will see sometimes there are news reporting in Cameron Highlands because the cabbage price or the tomato price is so low, the farmers do not wanted to harvest because to hire workers to harvest the tomato, they need to spend money. So they rather don't harvest and throw everything away. Just plow the soil, throw everything away, and replant for the next batch. Because it's for them is waste of money to hire worker to harvest because the price of tomato and cabbage is so low. So resilience towards the market and resilience towards the pests and diseases and resilience towards climate change. Um, Climate change have a huge impact on agriculture, especially because of the extreme weather, the increasing of the CO2 level in the atmosphere has a major impact on agriculture, especially on the yield of the crop. And the last principle will be the governance. Governance will be the management of the farm, the management of the agriculture area. So all these right is looking at the overall of the agriculture system, and it's not easy to achieve because if you wanted to look at all this right, it seems impossible. But we need to find a balance. We need to find a balance between the aspect of economy and environment and social. So these are the common practices. I'm going to go very fast on this because I don't want to bore you all with all the agriculture term. So crop rotation, usually if you are doing home gardening at home, you can try to practice at home. You rotate between these four category. So why we design this kind of crop rotation is because each types of crop category, the nutrient that they require is different. So for example, if you are in my microbiology class, you will know legumes. Legumes are nitrogen fixing plants which they have microbes that able to capture the nitrogen in the atmosphere and then convert it into the nitrate that available for plant absorption. So legumes plant will increase the nitrogen level in the soil. So once you planted legumes, you can plant your next crop. Once you harvest your legume, you plant the next crop, leafy vegetable. So your choysum, your kangkong, your bayam. So these crops are actually nitrogen using crops. So you will able to reduce your nitrogen use, your fertilizer use if you plant like this. So for fruit crop, they are absorbing potassium, and then root crops will absorbing phosphorus from the soil. So if you plant in a rotation like this, you are preventing excessive usage of nutrient from the soil, the same nutrient from the soil. So you give time for the microorganism and the soil to rest and replenish the nutrient required by the plant. So all this rotation helps to improve your soil condition. So you can practice in your home gardening at home. So another method that commonly practiced in sustainable is reduced tillage. So tillage is when we plow the soil before we plant. So when we plow the soil, we actually disturb the soil system. So the more the deeper the soil system we disturb, the more CO2 is released in the atmosphere. So and indirectly you are releasing greenhouse gas from your soil. So that is why we try to reduce the tillage. So you can see on the left hand side, the conventional tillage, they plow as deep as 30 to 50 cm of the soil. So it disturb a lot of the soil. So if you go for reduced tillage, it disturb about 10 to 15 cm of the topsoil. And of course, you can go for no-till. No-till is you totally don't disturb the soil, you just plant and spray. So another key method in sustainable agriculture is IPM, Integrated Pest Management. And I always see farmers, they just, oh, I see pests, then I spray the pesticide. And they don't really go for the scientific background. So here for this part, where this is where the science comes in, we need to identify the types of pests, and then we have weather forecasts, and then we control the pests not just using chemical, but also biological, mechanical, and cultural. So we try to reduce the chemical use and integrate different types of method. Of course, if you can go for chemical-free method, is the best. But usually, if you ever been to an organic farm, chemical-free method, you need to sacrifice a lot of your plant for the pest to eat. So usually, the yield is very very low. So the farmer needs to sell much higher for the price. That's why you see in the organic section of your Aeon, you see the price of the vegetable is much more expensive. For certain those high income M40 or T20, for those have no problem with financial problem. So this organic food is their choice. But for B40, I don't think organic food is their priority. So that is why we try to find a balance in life, looking at the pricing and also society. So we try to reduce the use of chemical by integrate different types of control in pests and diseases, but in the same time try to reduce the chemical use, so that is much more environmental friendly and much more safe for the farmer and also the consumer. So from here, this is the science of the agriculture. So another option is we integrate animal farm and vegetable farm, crop farming together. So you can see this is the cycle of the nutrient. So we recycle the animal feces as a fertilizer for the crop. The crop that we planted, some of it we sell it, some of it we use it as process it and feed it back into the animal. So everything is recycled in the farm. So this is integrated farming. So integrate both animal and crops. So this is actually a photo from film. Um, we call it crown shyness. So you can see, right, the crop is not, the plant is not touching each other. So this is in the forest. So in the forest, right? Um, the plant they themselves manage themselves. So have you ever wondered why in the forest, right? We don't have to fertilize the plant. We don't have to spray pesticide or herbicide, and the plants are living happily in the forest. So actually, plants in nature they have their own system. So you can see from this picture, right? They are actually giving out signal. We call it phytochemicals. So these signals, right? The plants is telling my neighbor, hey, you are getting too close to me, so don't grow too near. So the crop will stop growing. So that is why you can see the plant having a very small gap in between each crop, and they are not touching each other. So this is how the plant communicate with each other. uh it's like, hey, you don't touch me, I don't touch you, so they stop growing. So this is how the plant communicate with phytochemicals. So uh and in nature we don't have to manage them, they manage themselves. So that is why we try to simulate how forests are planting. So then another method is forest garden. So we try to simulate how forest plant is growing. So we plant. This is actually a model developed by permaculture. So there are actually 7 types of crops that we need to plant to simulate forests. So we have canopy plant, usually is our fruit trees, and then we have low tree layers, which is a shorter dwarf tree. For example, like the so if you are planting fruit, right? So the canopy tree will be a durian tree. Durian tree is very tall. So the shrub tree will be something shorter, like mango trees. So for the herbaceous layer, it can be your vegetable, and then shrubs. So 7 types of crops to in order for you to simulate your forest in your own garden. So if you ever been to my house before, I have a mini forest in front of my house, which I don't think my neighbor is very happy because looks like a forest, not very organized. But one good thing is I don't have to really do much weeding because the variety of plant I planted is so much. They are controlling themselves, so I don't have to do much on them. But it looks a bit messier. So my neighbor is not happy with me. So when you are doing the right types of planting, the right amount of application of fertilizer with organic matter, and the planting is simulate to the forest, you will see your soil organism, the microorganism with in your soil shift towards higher quantity, and also the dominate of the beneficial microbes will dominate in the soil is shifting. So when in agriculture soil, you will see a lot of mycorrhizae, fungi, and then coelate, protozoa dominating in your soil. So that is why I say when we disturb the soil and when we disturb the environment, the organism changes. So when in forest, you won't see they have many pest problem. It's because the organism dominate is different from the agriculture soil. That's why agriculture soil you can see we have domination of pests because we change the environment. So I won't go details on this. Um, so when you plant, so this one simple tips, you need to understand your crop. So if your crops are acid loving crops like flowering plant, so which means they actually prefer iron, manganese, boron, and copper. This is their main nutrient requirement. So if you are planting neutral plants that prefer neutral soil. So their main fertilizer is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur, calcium, magnesium. So these are the key 14 key nutrients that are required by plants. So you will see different symptoms of the nutrient deficiency in the plant. So you need to understand your plant and to treat your soil. So if you are planting your acid loving plant in a neutral soil, so you will see the plant is in deficiency. You will see the deficiency symptoms like in the left hand side of the diagram. So no matter how much fertilizer you apply, because the pH is not correct, you will see the plant is starving. They don't have enough food. So that is why in sustainable agriculture, we encourage the farmer understand the science behind the agriculture activity, understand the crop. So you apply right amount of fertilizer, right amount of adjusting the pH of the soil for your crops. So you will reduce wastage of your fertilizer, reduce wastage of your chemicals input, farm input, and also you can increase your yield. So understand the science behind agriculture is very important to achieve sustainable. That is why um, I think we are moving to the right direction with our future farmers. Um, According to the reports in the Age Malaysia Weekly and also NFC, comparing these two news report, in 2018, our average farmer is about 60 years old, and in 2020 last year, within 2 years, the average age reduced to 50 years old, which means our farmers is getting younger and younger, and they are more tech savvy, highly educated, and with better scientific knowledge, and also they're accepting new technology. Their environmental awareness is higher. With the switch of the farmers, we are getting young farmers in agriculture. So I think this will help to boost our movement towards sustainable agriculture, because sustainable agriculture needs a lot of scientific knowledge inside to switch it towards that direction. So the guy in this photo is actually my secondary schoolmate. He was a auditor in a very big international company, and he left his high salary job, venture into agriculture, and I respect him a lot. It's not easy, because from auditor to agriculture is total switch. And with such a young and energetic and willing to learn, and then with acceptance of technology, he was able to plant figs in Malaysia. And this is his company, Figara 11. You can visit the website and support him. So this is one of the example. Our farmer is getting younger and younger. So right now, in Malaysia, we have few agriculture concept is trending, and all these are the technology that actually encourage the young people involved in agriculture. So urban farming usually you will see in area that have low land availability like Singapore. So the photo on the left hand side is Singapore city phonic. They call it city phonic. So it's actually on top of the rooftop of a car park. So they turn it into a vertical hydroponic system. So they are planting their crop. Singapore is trying to be food sustainable themselves because they're lacking land. So they are going towards a vertical farming, rooftop farming. So on the right hand side is actually from Malaysia. We have indoor farming. You can visit the website. So they are actually focusing on planting indoor. So when it's in indoor, you will see they are using artificial light, the LED light, to simulate the sunlight for the plant to run photosynthesis. And you can see at the bottom, this actually is a hydroponic system. So they are using soluble chemical in water to supply nutrient for the crop to live indoor. So these are some of the example in different countries. You can go as simple as the left hand side, the drip irrigation. Can install it at home, and you can go as complex at the bottom right. So you can see multi tiers of indoor farming. This is from Arrow Farms. Arrow Farms is Singapore. Singapore. So you can see actually Singapore are involved a lot in agriculture, high-tech agriculture. So another concept is precision farming. So precision farming, a lot of researcher in UTM in our university, they are working on precision farming using smart farming, high-tech farming. So we are using sensor, IoT system, Internet of Things to actually monitor the nutrient use, the pest problem, and the plant growth, so that we apply right amount of fertilizer, we apply right amount of chemical for the crop growth, so we don't waste anything. So that's why we call precision farming. Precision, precise, everything is precise, just the right amount, so we don't waste anything. So with this we can cut costs and increase the yield. So on the left hand side of the photo, you can go to the YouTube and check it out. So these two guys, he seems very young, right? He spent 10 years to do research so that he can plant Japanese muskmelon in Malaysia. If you are aware of Japanese muskmelon, it costs about 100 to 200 USD, depends on the grade. USD, not Malaysian ringgit, USD, 100 to 200 USD per melon. So this is how expensive Japanese melon. And we successful cultivate in Malaysia. So his farm is open for visit. You can go and visit. So he spent 10 years, study the science behind it, practicing precise farming, high-tech farming to successfully plant in Malaysia. So these are very good example in Malaysia. Young farmer venture in high-tech and growing, which is not easy. Muskmelon is not easy to plant. So on the right hand side is also a example in Malaysia. They are actually the first company in Malaysia use 5G network to plant crops indoor. So vertical farming, indoor farming. So again, you can visit their website to look at their technology. Again, you can see they are very young. So like I said, now young farmer are venturing into high-tech agriculture in Malaysia right now. So another trending concept is organic farming. So many farmers are going towards chemical-free organic farming, uh, looking at the environmental aspect and also the health aspect. Excessive chemical is actually impacting our health, because uh, I'm not sure you guys ever visited a conventional farm before. Once I traveled into Indonesia. Indonesia is famous for their shallot, right? Their bawang. So I visited their bawang, right? I was very scared because the way they spray the pesticide is so much that the pesticide liquid is dripping from the plant. So you know how excessive they spray. And then the farmer, they told me the pest problem is so serious, they spray every 2 to 3 days. I was like, wow, this is already over the recommendation of the pesticide company. So I was like, wow. And then the farmer tells me, don't worry, I don't eat this. I have another piece of land that I'm not using chemical. Then I was like, oh, okay. I didn't say much lah, because I'm at their farm, right? I don't want to say anything that cause any trouble. So I was like, oh, okay. So now I know actually conventional farmer, sometimes they don't eat their own crop, because of they know the chemical they use is so much. They themselves also don't dare to eat the crop they plant. So that's why some of the farmer, the young farmer, they're aware of the problem with chemicals, so they go towards organic farming. So another very trending concept, but I hardly see it practiced in Malaysia, but I've seen it in overseas, like EU. EU is they are promoting regenerative farming, and also in Australia they have carbon farming. So this farm concept, they are more focusing on the environmental part. So you can see their objective is to regenerate and revitalize the soil and the environment. So they are focusing on soil and environment. So their main objective is to increase the carbon level in the soil. So they are practice a no-till farming rotation. So in Malaysia, I hardly see this concept is trending in Malaysia, but it's trending in overseas right now. So these are now I'll go towards some technology that is emerging right now. So there are people trying to working on the research part and also the application part. So data analytics. So like I mentioned before, people are using IoT 5G network to collect the data. Many people was wondering, yeah, they're collecting the data. What's next after collecting the data? After you collecting the data from the farm, we go towards analytics. So we try to forecast the extreme weather, the pest forecast, and also yield and loss. This will help the farmer to make the right decision. So, for example, if I able to forecast in December, there will be a serious pest problem. So I will harvest my crop before December. So I will harvest in November to reduce my crop loss due to pest problem. So this is actually practice in overseas. And I think Malaysia, we have a researcher in MARDI and UPM are working on the pest forecast and also extreme forecast. So we were able to, if in Africa, there are researcher in trying to implement in Africa to forecast drought seasons. So if we know that okay, in next year, June, July, there's drought seasons. So I will try to make sure I plant and harvest before the drought seasons occur. And then during the drought seasons, I'm not going to plant anything. So this is where data analytics, the science comes in. So for the IoT data collection. So automation, drones, robots, we have many researchers working on it in UTM. And also we have a GPS, a self-driving tractor. Self-driving tractor is usually suitable for intensive agriculture because it needs a big piece of land in order for the tractor to run automatic. If your farm is like about 20 acre is too small to run self-driving. So usually it's a big farm only they practice self-driving tractor and drones and robot. Of course, right now we are in the stage that we try to improve the technology because I've heard some farmers say the robot harvesting is a bit slow. So I remember a farmer said in the interview saying, I think I harvest is faster than the robot. So and right now the researcher is trying to improve the speed of the robot and also how the robot can adapt in different agriculture system because you can see if the robot designed to harvest a tomato, it might not be suitable to harvest a leafy vegetable. So how are we going to develop a robot that's so versatile? It can adapt in different agriculture system. So like I mentioned in the previous slide on the sustainable agriculture, we have different method and different system. So can our drone system that we design, can our robot that we design suits different agriculture system, and can it goes towards sustainable agriculture? So this is the question the researcher needs to answer. And also, of course, in NASA, our space agency in US, they actually have a agriculture department, space agriculture department. So they are actually working on leaf sensor. So right now the sensor we have are more on soil sensor. So in NASA, they're actually developing a sensor on the leaf. I think in Singapore, there are also a researcher working on the leaf sensor. So I actually try to understand what the plants needs. And in Singapore, they were able to actually use an electrical pulse to control the plant. So they're actually able to control the plant to move the plant using the leaf sensor, electrical pulse. So it's pretty interesting. So we have nutrient stage release, nutrient release fertilizer. If you are in ever plant a crop before, you know that crop have different stages, young stage, like 1 to 2 weeks. For example, like your sawi, 1 to 2 weeks, we apply one time the fertilizer. At 3 to 4 weeks, we apply another time of fertilizer. Because we apply fertilizer according to crop growth. And for farmers, it's actually tedious because you need to apply twice, and then you need workers to apply twice. So people try to actually develop a fertilizer that able to release the fertilizer in stage. So I apply one time, that fertilizer can slowly release the fertilizer according to the plant growth. So these are the technology that will be available in future, currently in the R&D stage. Of course, LED system. Yes, we have a LED system right now for indoor farming, but there are people challenging. You are using LED, which means you are using energy. It's not environmental friendly. So people were trying to improve the LED system, so it's using the energy in a more efficient way. So they are right now trying to work on the LED system to change the light according to the plant growth. So for example, if your plant leaf is about 1 cm when it's still young, so maybe one LED light is on. So when it grow until like 10 cm size, so 2 3 LED lights on. So if it's adjust like this, we reduce the energy use and also the wastage of the energy. So another trending agriculture technology is nanotech. So I think we have nanotech in UTM also. So we have nano sensor and also nano fertilizer, pesticide and insecticide. So why we want to go for nano fertilizer and pesticide is because it will be able to absorb by the plant more easily. And if it's much more easier to absorb by plant, we were able to reduce the application rate. So if we able to reduce application rate, reduce wastage, more efficient resource use, and reduce the pesticide use. And of course, there are people trying to track the animal. So anyone have a Fitbits? Fitbits, usually we use it to track our fitness, right? Our heart rate, our blood pressure. So people are trying to track the animal so that we are able to monitor the animal, the animal in the farm, so that we ensure the survival rate of the animal in the husbandry farm. So of course, GM crops has been trending right for some time, but there is always what we call dispute over GM crop. GM crop is genetic modified crops. So there are always people are not accepting GM crop because of they don't think it's natural to modify the crop. So so this is actually a very sensitive issue. Like I think in certain country they actually don't allow GM crop to be planted in their country. So but still there are research going on to genetic modify the crop so that it can resist to drought seasons. Or we have BT crop. So if you are in my microbiology class, BT is the microorganism called Bacillus thuringiensis. So these microbes actually release a toxin that is toxic to the insect. So they are actually commercial PT crops. Is already a commercialized product. So PT crops is a crops that contains that gene that release that toxin that is toxic to insect. So BT crops is actually pest resistance. So we don't have to apply too much of the pesticide to control the pest because the crops itself already capable to release the toxin to repel the pests. So when we talk about the role of technology in sustainable agriculture, we were trying to find a balance between productivity, the yield, the crop quality, resource use efficiency and food safety and quality of the employee life. And from all those technology I mentioned just now, you can see some of them target productivity, some of them target resource use, some of them target food safety, and some of them target the quality of life. So, but one question we should ask ourselves, can one of these technology that I mentioned able to achieve the three concepts: economy, society, and also environment? This is a question that we need to ask ourselves. So this is a, a lesson learned from China. So you can go and watch the video. It's in YouTube. So China, right? They are moving towards sustainable living, and healthy living, environmental living. So they actually built condominiums, expensive condominium with a forest inside there. So thinking of it's more environmental friendly and then more healthy living. And this expensive condominium, no one wanted to move in. So you can see there's 3 buildings, right? Only 10 family moved in because there's too many mosquito. And people cannot stand the mosquito in the condo because forest, right? Sometimes we will encourage the insect and pests to infestation. So this lesson is telling us that ideal and practical, we need to find a balance. So it's very ideal, it's very environmental friendly to have a forest in our condominium, but when there's a lot of mosquito, then it's not pretty practical, right? So when we try to integrate technology in our agriculture, we need to ask ourselves, is it ideal or practical? So this is a lesson learned from China. So I hope through this lecture, if any one of you wanted to be like my friend, venture into agriculture, um, to achieve sustainable agriculture, looking at the three principle, the three key points, so that we can achieve profitable, efficient, safe, and environmental friendly agriculture. So I think this is the end of my presentation. So if you have any Q&A, you can type it in the comment. I will try to answer as much as possible if I have the knowledge to answer. So thank you so much. No question yet, we can end the session. So no question, you can end the session and go masak. Go masak.
So thank you so much, Dr. Nicole, and I hope all of you have already taken some important notes as there are many beneficial points shared by Dr. Nicole. So since we are given a limited time, I would like to apologize for not being able to deliver all the comments written in the live session here. So thank you so much, Dr. Nicole, for the wonderful sharing. And to us, you are such an incredible and inspiring person. It was a great pleasure to have you today as our speaker, and we wish you all the best in everything you do. And thank you to all the viewers for staying with us until the end of this live session. Stay tuned for more updates on the next webinar from Facebook, Faculty of Engineering. Until then, have a nice day, everyone, and thank you. See you. With that,
Thank you.
Shashan signing off.
Bye. Stay safe, everyone.